Hello, everyone. What is a metaverse? Or what is the metaverse? What is it? Right? I'm going to try my best to answer it. So, first, I think in order to understand what a metaverse is, you need to already know what a multiverse is. A multiverse is just like the concept of a parallel universe. And if you don't know what a parallel universe is, let's pretend you make a choice, yes or no, on anything. It doesn't matter. It leads you down two different paths, right? Well, you choosing one means that there's a good chance and a very high probability that there's still a version of you that chose the other version, the other choice, and took the other path. And so this creates a split where you live one version and your parallel version lives the other version. And this happens with every choice, creating like an infinite amount of universes. Basically saying that anything that can happen will happen, has happened, sort of thing. So that making parallel universes understood. The multiverse is that big web of it. It's the fact that they all exist. All of these different parallel universes connecting, right? That's a way to tie to the real world. But you can also give a digital representation of it. The game Multiverses it's right in the title. They're telling you it's a multiverse, but they're also telling you verses as in, they're fighting each other. And that's a bunch of different Cartoon Network, DC, basically anything that's owned by the Warner Brothers umbrella could be thrown into a multiverse, right? Their own multiverse. It's kind of based off of their universe, right? Their universe is their multiverse. Them having their own universe bubble next to, say, Disney, right? Who has their own universal bubble with their own universe of characters that kind of intermingle every now and then, right? Same concept. Then there's also Marvel Comics being in Disney, right? So like that's actually a really good parallel is Warner Brothers to Disney for that sense. But the fact that two of them exist, and then you can go look into other franchises, even not just movies. Now you can go look into video games. Then there's like, I don't know, the Halo or the Microsoft ecosystem can be considered its own universal bubble, right? Now the fact that there's these multiple ones are what make it a multiverse, right? Because each one of them's their own digital universe, right? So how do you make this into the metaverse then? Because if everyone's looking at Fortnite as a multiverse, but they're calling it a metaverse, like if it's truly a multiverse, but everyone calls it the metaverse, what makes it the metaverse? It's the social and the real world tying into it aspect. The fact that when you go into Fortnite and there's 100 different people every time you go into a new match, and you're likely to run into 100 new people almost because there's so many people playing the game, right? So it kind of makes it so that there's this real world interactivity between players, and there's this social engagement where you could talk to your enemy and your friends at the same time. And then they have like a shop with their own currency. So they're creating an ecosystem, like a digital ecosystem inside of their universe. And they're tying a player to an account, and that account exists as a person, so to speak, in this metaverse, multiverse, whatever. It's the player being a part of the multiverse, giving it the social engagement with the real world that makes it the metaverse. So you need the multiverse to exist the interoperability between either your entire company or your company plus another company, okay? You need the interoperability between them to exist first before the metaverse can be implemented. That's why there's this whole talk about even Web 2 and Web 3. And to further push it along, Web 3, what it entails mainly is crypto and NFTs. Now, we can also look at today's gaming a little similarly anyways, whether we want to call them cryptocurrencies or NFTs or not. It doesn't really matter when you look at the power of Microsoft's Azure platform and how much it actually has a stake in the gaming community, for instance, and how games operate nowadays with their own currency and these skins, right? It's not much difference. The part that makes the entire new metaverse on Web 3 concept different from this whole multiverse on Web 2 concept is the real life e-commerce aspect of it. The fact that there is a digital stock market that ties into real world implications but is usable in the digital world that you would be visiting. And each of these coins exist for their ecosystem that they're built for, right? The NFT part that sets itself aside from how traditional games are doing it is when you buy the one NFT, it might seem expensive for a single asset, but you have true ownership over it. And if that company decides to do a partnership with another company, there's a good chance that that one asset that you own will be usable in both games. So you don't have to buy it twice or 3 times or 5 times or 20 billion times, however many projects it decides to partner up with, right? So that could be said for these big companies too, like Microsoft. If they decide to release like a Master Chief NFT and Overwatch and other games decide they want to partner with the Halo company, then owning that Master Chief NFT could be the ticket into owning the character in game on multiple games, buying it once. So it sounds expensive at the beginning, but not really. As long as they can figure out this whole scaling aspect, like how many assets are going to exist, are you going to print more? Are there, or are you just going to buy on the spot and then fucking at one day, are you just going to create a cap and like no more will be created? It's going to be like this battle pass thing where it creates its own rarity. Like, I don't know. Those are all things that are still up to discussion, right? But those are parts and pieces to the mechanical engine that's creating this metaverse. Whether we like it or not, it's all inevitable. Just like VR, whether you like it or not, it's an inevitable thing that's going to happen, period. And that will be one of the biggest tickets into the metaverse anyway, to actually be a part of it. Like to actually feel like when you look around, the world around you gets replaced with the digital world. That is when the metaverse will fully kick in. But to say that we're not already there in Web 2, this multiverse, metaverse 2.0, 3.0, we're kind of in the middle phase right now, if you think about it. Because video games do often do these partnerships. It's just not in the same way. You usually have to buy it here and buy it there, and you have no resell over those assets. They're trapped into that gaming ecosystem for good. So once you stop playing that game, the money kind of almost feels like a waste sometimes. Sure, you get the enjoyment out of it during the time being, but then they're just going to go make the 2.0 version of the game, and you're going to have to buy it all over again. And that's the part that people are getting sick of, and that's why NFTs are becoming a hot topic, because it's all about buying it once, having ownership over that asset, and if you feel like maybe you're getting too old for it, maybe you just don't play enough video games, maybe you just don't care about that particular asset anymore, the point is that you could sell it off to somebody else who does want it at the price that you want to name it at. Anyways, that's my whole spiel. NFTs are inevitable. Cryptocurrency is inevitable. The metaverse is inevitable. VR is inevitable. And to touch on the VR thing really quick, think about this. Microsoft put out the Kinect. They forced it, right? They're afraid to do that again. But Sony, they doubled down, right? They had their whole Move camera from back on the PS2, I believe, is when they originally did the Move. And then they reiterated it on PS3 and did it better or whatever, or worse. I don't know. You decide. You for yourself. And then they finally did VR, right? And then you look at Nintendo. Nintendo did Virtual Boy all the way back on NES. Okay, they were the first to try it. Was it any good? Again, let that be up for your own discussion. Okay? The point is, they tried it. They were ballsy enough to try it. Nintendo, way back when. Very first to do it, if you could think about it. And then, if you think about all their consoles and everything that they've been trying to do, it's like they've been trying to make a VR device from the get-go. Every iteration of their consoles from then has been working to make that conceivable. They've been trying to shrink it down, make it smaller, make it more powerful, and at the same time make it something that's portable. If you look at like the N64 versus the GameCube, right? The N64 was definitely at-home console. Let's get 3D working, boys. Let's just get 3D being a thing. Sweet, we got it. And then the GameCube came out. Okay, now that we got 3D working, let's just make it a little bit better, but let's make the console smaller and make it easy to carry around with the handle and everything. You know what I mean? Then the Wii, they shrunk it down even more. Let's add motion controls. Sweet, we got them. Okay, then the Switch comes out. Let's double down on it. Okay, they the Switch Minis or whatever, they did end up axing this motion control thing, but I feel like their next iteration console, they'll bring it back. But anyway, they came out with the Switch. They touted again the same kind of motion controls that you've seen on the Wii and stuff that they built already. And and the Wii U also had that screen that was portable, you know what I mean? And it was just a more powerful Wii, still smaller kind of thing. Actually, I think it was a little bit bigger. I could be wrong on that. And then they came out with, the Switch with the motion controls, and it's a portable and at-home console. So again, they're trying to work on this idea of being able to play at home and on the go, right? But they want... Now, look at Pokemon Go. What is it? It's an AR game on your phone, right? On Android. What is the Switch built on? Android, if you didn't know that. Just do the math, put it all together. What are they doing? They're working towards it. And if you go look at some of their deepest patent concepts, there is a headset that they made patent for the Switch so that you can slide the Switch in like a dock and wear it on your head. It almost looks like they're bringing back the Virtual Boy from the NES. Just saying, all these companies have been building pieces for VR. So VR is 100% inevitable. And if it's just another piece to the Metaverse puzzle, then you know that the Metaverse is also inevitable. And if you look at the fact that video games have currencies of their own and a bunch of partnerships and this whole bring all these different games into one game, like Smash Bros, multiverses and stuff like that, and and then games like Blizzard, there's like subtle references in like almost all the Blizzard games that kind of tie them together. Like you can kind of see, like, I don't know, Torzorn, or I probably just butchered his name, from Overwatch. He definitely looks kind of resemblant to the dwarf characters from World of Warcraft. Like, you know what I mean? They know how to cross-reference as well. They know what they're doing. All these companies do it, and it's because they know that they're building into this metaverse thing that everyone wants, but doesn't know they want. Anyway, that's my piece on it. Peace out.